Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
It's D-backs baseball on this July 4th weekend, brought to you by Sanderson Ford. For our servicemen and women around the world, this one's for you. The Diamondbacks today, a chance to take 2 of 3 from the Colorado Rockies. Welcome to D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume and Bob Brenly along the way. This is the rubber game, 3-game set. Diamondbacks and Rockies, a promising pitching matchup today. And Bob, we start with the Diamondbacks. Big Taijuan Walker on the mound today.
Yeah, Taijuan has had the misfortune rather of starting 2 games at Coors Field. His last time out, he was very good against the Rockies. 6 innings, gave up 6 hits and 3 runs in that game. Punched out 8 Rockies hitters. Really had good breaking stuff at Coors Field, which is highly unusual.
Diamondbacks getting their 4th look this season at 22-year-old rookie Germán Marquez, and so far he's pitched pretty well against the D-backs.
Yeah, he's had 2 really good starts against the D-backs when he gave up only 1 run in 12 combined innings, and 1 really bad one when he gave up 5 runs in 6. We'll see which Marquez shows up today.
This is a big one, trying to take 2 of 3. Rockies breathing down the D-backs next, both in the NL West and the wild card race. First pitch is coming up from Chase Field on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River. Experience winning like you've never imagined at the Gila River Casinos, Lone Butte, Wild Horse Pass, and Equivo. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. brought to you by your Valley Honda dealer, where you get more standard features for less money.
By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Oregano. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run. At Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint. Location statewide. By Gigablast Internet from Cox. Welcome to the gig life. And by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM.
Welcome inside the ballpark, the voice of Chase Field, Mr. Chuck Drago.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and please remove your hats. Please direct your attention to the field as we honor the United States of America and pay tribute to our veterans, active duty, and retired men and women of our armed services. Presenting our colors, please welcome the sailors from the Navy Recruiting District Phoenix under the leadership of Chief Petty Officer Andrew Seals. The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies invite you to join in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, performed by Airman First Class Timothy Orr.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the Rockies' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that Star-Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Games over 500, 51-31, the best start in team history. 3.5 games ahead of these Colorado Rockies for that first National League wild card spot. D-backs a chance to take 2 of 3 in this series. And here's the lineup for Colorado. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
As usual, Charlie Blackmon leading it off in center field. DJ LeMahieu back in the lineup at second base. Nolan Arenado down at third. Mark Reynolds, the former D-back, over at first base. Ian Desmond getting a start in left field today. Raimel Tapia over in right field. Trevor Story at shortstop. Veteran Ryan Hannigan doing the catching for right-hander Herman Marquez.
Right-hander Taijuan Walker, your Ram truck starter for the D-backs. 6-3 in 12 starts. ERA right at 3.5. Taijuan just beat the Rockies 2 starts ago at Coors Field.
And as I mentioned in the open, had a really good breaking ball that day at Coors Field, which is highly unusual. Had a real nasty slider working down and away from the righties that day.
Charlie Blackmon, who led off this series with a home run here Friday night against Robbie Ray, leads it off against Taijuan Walker. Diamondbacks and Rockies on a Sunday in downtown Phoenix, and there's strike one from Marvin Hudson, who's our plate umpire today. Tom Woodring at first base, the crew chief Jerry Lane at second, and Mike Estabrook is the third base umpire.
One statistical note on Taijuan Walker: his last start was against the St. Louis Cardinals. He went 6 1/3, gave up 6 hits and 3 earned runs in that game. Did not strike out a batter. That's the first D-backs pitcher to do that, go 6 or more innings without a strikeout since '09, John Garland against the Rangers.
Taijuan 8 strikeouts when he faced these Rockies at Coors Field on the last road trip. That's fouled off, and it's 2-2 on Blackmon. Charlie Blackmon, 311 and now 17 home runs, 0 for 4 last night. And leadoff homer in the series opener Friday, is 3rd this season and the 25th of his career. There's one strikeout. Slow curveball from Walker, 1 down. Let's take a look at the Diamondbacks defensively. That's brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Chris Herman getting the nod in left field today. Gregor Blanco in center. Chris Owens playing right field. Jake Lamb and Ketel Marte on the left side of the infield, with Brandon Drury and Paul Goldschmidt manning the right side. Chris Iannetta behind the plate today for right-hander Taijuan Walker.
First appearance in this series for DJ LeMahieu, who had to leave their game last Tuesday in San Francisco in the 4th inning and has not played since. They've been calling it a groin cramp, but finally back in there today at second base. 302 and 3 home runs. We saw both Pat Valaika and Alexi Amarista at second base in the first 2 games of this series for Bud Black. Off balance swing and a fastball, and it's 2-1. LeMahieu hot lately. There's Valaika. We've seen plenty of him in this series. LeMahieu 394 in his last 17 games. So we'll see if that groin injury cools him off a bit.
We've talked about LeMahieu a lot over the years. This guy is a dead opposite field hitter. You can see where Gregor Blanco is positioned out there in center, way over in the gap.
Called strike 3. Looks at a fastball. Well, no strikeouts his last time out. Today, Taijuan has struck out the first 2 he's faced, and now here's Nolan Arenado.
Making up for lost time. I mean, that's just a straight fastball, middle of the zone, middle of the thighs. LeMahieu maybe a little rusty after sitting out a couple days.
Arenado 3 hits in this series. He tripled here Friday night. 296 and 15 home runs. Those 61 runs batted in have him tied with Mark Reynolds for 5th most of the major leagues, and Reynolds is the on-deck hitter here. Arenado leading the major leagues in extra base hits. 1-1. Reaches down and dunks that one into right center, a 2-out single. His 4th hit in the series. That brings up Reynolds.
Baseman number 12, Mark Reynolds.
Reynolds 290, 19 home runs. He's had a difficult series, 1 for 8 with 6 strikeouts. Struck out all 4 times he was up last night.
Yeah, but he's got cool shoes on.
A lot of guys do here today. The shoe and sock combos are all American on this July 4th weekend.
You know, I'm a little bit surprised they let the pitchers go with the 2 different socks out there on the mound. For me, it's distracting.
Well, maybe if everybody wears them, everybody with high socks anyway. Laid on a fastball, and it's 1-1.
Not a lot of past history between these two, but Mark Reynolds has certainly had the better of it. 4 for 5 lifetime with 2 homers and a double against Taijuan Walker.
Arenado moves up to second. No throw there from Chris Iannetta as he spiked that cut fastball in the dirt.
It's got a little bit too far away. Nolan Arenado is not a fast base runner, but he's a very alert base runner. He saw that ball in the dirt, broke for second immediately, and when that ball took a hard carom off the chest protector, he was able to make it to second base standing up.
Well, it would be a shame to give up a 2-out run right here after striking out the first 2 he faced. Fastball is there for strike 2. Reynolds starting to revert a bit to his old form. He's now 4th in the National League in strikeouts. Ian Desmond would be next. Got him. 3 strikeouts in the first for Taijuan Walker. Diamondbacks coming up. Truck starting pitcher for the Rockies, German Marquez, rookie right-hander, only 22, 5-4, a 4.38 ERA. A few bumps in the road last month, just 1 win in 5 starts in June.
He's going to rely heavily on a fastball curveball combination. He has a slider and a changeup, but he rarely throws it.
Your lineup for the Diamondbacks brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
As you mentioned, Gregor Blanco leading it off out in center field. Chris Herman will be in left field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Jake Lamb over at third. Chris Owings in right. Brandon Drury will be at second base with Chris Iannetta catching. Ketel Marte at shortstop and Taijuan Walker on the mound.
Fastball missed, and it's ball 1 for Blanco. Batting .258. He's homered twice. Blanco 3 hits in the series. He doubled in his only at bat last night. Single, doubled, and scored a run in Friday's opener. He had a Tough stretch earlier last week, but boy, he's really broken out of that slump in a big way here. Herman on deck. Blanco went through a 2 for 25 skid last week. But as he steps in here, 5 hits in 10 at bats over his last 3 games. 2-2. Diamondbacks opening up today 51-31, the best start in franchise history. 20 games over 500. 3.5 games behind the Dodgers NL West lead. 3.5 up on these Rockies for that first wild card. Dodgers are at San Diego today. Kenta Maeda starts for LA. Yolis Chacin for the Padres at Petco Park. At the inside, fastball called for strike 3. Our defense for the Rockies, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Ian Desmond will be in left field this afternoon. Charlie Blackmon in center. Raimel Tapia over in right field. It'll be Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story on the left side of the infield. DJ LeMahieu and Mark Reynolds on the right side, with Ryan Hannigan doing the catching for right-hander German Marquez.
Chris Herman, the left fielder today, batting second. Rockies have the shift on. 3 defenders on the right-hand side. Fastball is in there for strike 1. Chris Herman, 194, 7 home runs. Came in with a fastball and missed. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. So Story, the shortstop, back on the grass, just on the first base side of second. And LeMahieu slides over the second baseman. Not too deep out there. Change up from Marquez. He doesn't throw too many of those. He's mostly fastball, curveball. Jumps ahead 1-2.
That's one of those hard change ups that'll come in there in the high 80s.
Yeah, Marquez essentially a 2-pitch guy. Fastball that averages 95. That sets up his big curveball. Occasional changeup, occasional cutter. And that might have been the cutter right there. Strikes out Herman for his second out. Time now, BB, for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
We mentioned in the open of the show that Marquez has been really good a couple times against the Diamondbacks. Pretty bad the other time. So let's have selective memory. Remember what you did against Marquez when you beat him, and try to forget those other 2 games.
And Marquez last time out was throwing kind of a cutter slider hybrid that Torey Lovullo, that's how he put it, when Marquez faced the D-backs 2 starts ago. Here's that curveball missed inside. It's 1-0 to Goldie. Gets a fair amount of strikeouts with that big curveball, especially against right-hand batters. Likes to establish that for a strike and then get guys to try and chase it out of the strike zone. There was that hard changeup. It's 1-1. Goldie 318, 19 home runs, leading all of baseball with those 66 RBIs. And one of only 3 players in the majors with an OPS over 1,000. All-star rosters will be announced later today, 4 o'clock Arizona time. So we'll find out which Diamondbacks are on that list. Hoping for the minimum of 4, preferably 5 or 6. A lot of deserving candidates. Goldie and Jake Lamb, Chris Owings, Zach Greinke, Robbie Ray. Fernando Rodney should not be overlooked. 3-1 to Goldie. There's another walk. Leading the National League in on-base percentage. That brings up Jake Lamb. Of course, Jake was in that final 5 vote last year. Hopefully he's named to the All-Star team later today. Should be. Second in the majors in runs batted in. Hitting .282 with 18 home runs. 1 for 7 in the series. He doubled Friday night. Rockies against Lamb don't shift per se, but LeMahieu at second does back way up on the outfield grass. Arenado well off the bag at third. There's that changeup for Marquez. Colorado coaches and front office always on their pitchers. You gotta try and throw that changeup. That's something they hammer into their minor league pitchers. John Gray's slider was his big pitch Friday night. He looked tremendous. Struck out 10. Jake ahead 2-0. Slices this one out to Desmond in left field. We're through one at Chase Field. D-backs and Rockies, no score.
Talking about All-Stars and the amount of Diamondbacks who are really worthy of going to that All-Star game in Miami. Of course, it's on Fox next week. And, you know, Torey Lovullo talked about it earlier today. Says so many guys are deserving. Ray, Greinke, Goldie, Lamb, Chris Owings, and yes, Fernando Rodney, even Archie Bradley. But he understands it's tricky for guys like Archie in that particular role, in that eighth inning role. But I don't think anyone here, guys, would say that he hasn't been a huge part of this team's success.
Well, Ian Desmond takes one in the back from Taijuan Walker to start off this second inning. Yeah, Archie has developed into a big weapon in the back end of that bullpen, no doubt about it.
Yeah, we were talking about it before the ball game. Unfortunately, that's an area of the game that kind of gets disregarded come All-Star time. Those setup guys, middle relievers that put up those good numbers, but they don't get the saves, they don't get the wins, they just put up good numbers.
Well, didn't you pick one of those guys back when you were in charge?
Left-hander Mike Remlinger was pitching for the Atlanta Braves, and he was one of those kind of guys. He was the Andrew Chafin of the 2002 Atlanta Braves, the left-hander that would come out of that bullpen in the 7th and 8th inning, get a couple, 3, 4, 5 big outs. And he certainly deserved to go to the All-Star game that year, and I liked having that lefty in the pen.
Well, the problem was you just needed one more pitcher.
Yeah. Or I needed Vicente Padilla to do what we asked him to do.
There is that.
Yeah. No, I mean, Padilla was our vapor lot guy. If we happened to go into extra innings, he had been a starting pitcher. He said he could give us multiple innings, and when he got up to warm up, he said, boy, it just doesn't feel quite right. I might be able to give you one. Well, that's good, but we have nobody else left after you.
Raimel Tapia. Walker ahead quickly 0-2.
That is a thankless job. I do not envy Joe Madden and Tito Francona picking those teams. I mean, somebody's always going to be upset.
Well, now there's a formula. Some of it is the players voting, and some of it is the fan vote, and then the manager gets to pick it. It's a kind of a complicated deal now.
Yeah, and even with all that, there's going to be deserving guys that don't go to Miami this year.
Yeah, you can expand the rosters as long as you want. There's always going to be a cutoff.
Yep.
But at least it's a little bit easier on the skippers. It's not solely responsible anymore. You're having a facial here, hair all-star team. Charlie Blackmon would be there.
Well, Archie'd be a slam dunk.
Oh, yeah. Tapia in his 2-strike crouch. Tapia's had a good series. 3 hits. He's doubled. He's homered, his first career homer. That came here Friday night off Robbie Ray. Here's that splitter from Taijuan Walker, and he kind of quick pitched him a little bit there.
You see that split finger grip, the ball kind of tumbling down low and away from the left-handed hitting Tapia, and he takes a home run swing on the 2-strike count, comes up empty.
Well, Taijuan has struck out 4 of the first 6 Rockies he's faced. And now here's the shortstop Trevor Story. 224, 11 home runs. He homered off Zach Greinke last night. Zach was saying after the game last night, there's that cutter from Taijuan Walker, that he should have walked Trevor Story. Story just went down and hit a pretty decent pitch. That coming with 2 outs in the 7th inning after Arenado had singled. Cut a 3-0 Diamondback lead to 3-2.
Unfortunately, that slider that Story hit out of here last night, that was a case of a good pitch and a bad result. It wasn't a bad pitch at all. Slider down there around the knees, working its way toward the outside corner, and Story got fooled a little bit, but got enough of it to get it into the Diamondbacks bullpen in left field.
Yeah, that's what Zach was saying. Zach will tell you if it was a bad pitch, but he was fairly happy with that pitch. Hello, Taijuan Walker. A bowling ball strikeout of Trevor Story. That's his 5th.
Boy, pitchers love this, when you can not only strike out an opposing hitter, but make him look bad doing it. Trevor Story loses his balance, goes tumbling across home plate on strike 3.
Well, he's now struck out 5 times in the series, Trevor Story. He's 3rd in the National League in strikeouts. Every out recorded so far by Taijuan Walker via the strikeout. And with 2 down, here's the catcher, Ryan Hannigan. Ketel Marte at shortstop. Taijuan Walker, 5 strikeouts through 2 innings. No score at Chase Field.
as we salute this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. You go back to the 1963 season. It's been called the greatest game ever pitched. Juan Marichal and Warren Spahn hooked up for 15 scoreless innings. Willie Mays, with 1 out in the 16th, hit a solo home run to give the Giants a 1-0 victory over Warren Spahn and the Braves that day.
Somebody wrote a book about that game. I loaned it to Scott Geyer. He never returned it.
Really?
Yeah.
Must have been a really good book.
Apparently. Chris Owings leads off the second. I thought you might go with another this day in history.
Yeah.
Considering that the Diamondbacks right now sitting on 51 wins, which is how many games they won back in 2004.
On this day in 04, I got fired.
Well, it all worked out. You had a parade and you got a ring.
Yeah.
Surprised your staff didn't insist that that one went to the top of the list.
They tried.
Well, Chris Owings having a big series. 3 hits, 3 RBIs, a double last night. He homered twice here Friday. He's now got an extra base hit in 4 straight games. You know, since 51 and 51.
Yeah.
A little synergy there.
Except on this day in 2004, we had 51 losses.
True.
Something like that.
On your way to a few more, or at least Al Pedrique was.
Yeah. Looking for that formula.
That one bit Marvin Hudson back there, and it's 1-2. Pinball.
Yep, right off of Hannigan's mitt, which slowed it down a little bit.
Chris Owings, the start today in right field. A day off for David Peralta. Ketel Marte's in at shortstop. CO has hit safely in 16 consecutive starts. Freight train's at the station today. There's that curveball that Marquez likes to go to when he wants the strikeout. That's his 3rd.
That's a good tight rotation curveball. That one bounces out in front of home plate in the 2-strike count.
Well, D-backs need Brandon Drury to get his bat going again. Brandon 1 for 8 in the series. He had a double here Friday night, but he's stuck in a 3 for 28 right now. Hitting .283 on the year. First pitch swinging, skies one right center. Tapia coming in. 1 pitch, 1 out for Drury, 2 down.
Yeah, it seems recently like Brandon has been excessively patient. He's taken a lot of very hittable pitches and ends up getting in a 2-strike count and then has to expand the zone to cover those corners, and many times been getting himself out. So maybe he's going to try to be a little more aggressive swinging at the first pitch here in his first at bat.
Well, D-backs looking for their first base hit against German Marquez, and here's the catcher Chris Iannetta. 231, 8 homers. Chris coming off an 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in his start against the Cardinals here on Thursday. Iannetta usually back behind the plate during a Taijuan Walker start. They played together last year with the Seattle Mariners. Their strike 1. Slider from Marquez. 0-2. He's really doing a good job so far mixing it up. We've seen a fastball, curveball, cutter, slider, changeup. Just missed a fastball up, and it's 1-2. Gets his 4th strikeout of the ball game. A 1-2-3 second. No score chase. Fans, secure your seats now for the Diamondbacks and Cubs weekend series here coming up August 11th through the 13th. This is one series you won't want to miss. First 20,000 fans with us on Saturday, August 12th. Get the Arizona flag cap courtesy of Gila River Casinos. Get your D-backs and Cubs tickets now at dbacks.com. I've seen that cap and it's really cool. German Marquez, the Rockies pitcher, leads off the 3rd against Taijuan Walker. Taijuan has 5 strikeouts so far. Marquez a 118 hitter on the year. Big slow curveball and it's 0-2. Taijuan struck out 3 in the 1st and 2 in the 2nd. Plays off a fastball up. Taijuan Walker, a win over these Rockies at Coors Field on the last road trip. 3 runs, 6 hits in 6 innings, had 8 strikeouts in that ball game. Did not get a decision in his start here against St. Louis last Tuesday when he walked 5 Cardinals. That fastball's in there. 6 strikeouts for Taijuan, 1 down.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, you get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Charlie Blackmon struck out to lead off the ball game. No walks for Walker so far. He has hit a batter. Now he'll deal with Charlie Blackmon, who is leading the National League in hits. Having an all-star type season. Second behind Nolan Arenado for the most extra base hits in baseball. Leads the majors in total bases, second in the league in runs scored behind Goldie, but Taijuan not messing around, ahead quickly 0-2. This is the Taijuan Walker that we saw in spring training when he was just absolutely dominant every time out. And early in the season before that blister problem developed. Center field, Blanco. Two down for DJ LeMahieu.
Second baseman, DJ LeMahieu.
LeMahieu struck out looking his first time up today. LeMahieu's a guy that generally makes you come in on him. Pitch like that, he'll just kind of spit on that. That's that little cutter slider. For a guy who hits the ball to center or to right field 75% of the time, he rarely hacks at a pitch away like that. Just like that one, he'll let that go.
Yeah, his approach is what they call an inside out swing. He kind of leads with the hands, lets the barrel drag behind, and when he makes contact, even on inside pitches, those are balls he's going to hit to right field.
Just like that. Owings over to cut it off and gets under the glove and rolls to the wall, and LeMahieu gets second base. That is a classic DJ LeMahieu base hit right there.
It really is. He just lives on that right side of the field. Teams position their defense accordingly as that one sneaks under the glove of Chris Owings all the way to the wall. That was going to be a tough recovery and throw back to second base to try to get LeMahieu.
I believe that's going to be a single and an error.
Wow.
A base hit for LeMahieu. Advance it to second base E9, and here's Nolan Arenado. Boy, the ball that Tapia kicked in the corner in right field on that Goldie triple in the fourth inning. And that play we just saw, two odd scoring decisions. Arenado singled his first time up. Taijuan stranded a runner at second base with 2 outs in the first, trying to do the same thing here in the third. Deep fly to center. Blanco's there. 3 scoreless for Walker. He's got 6 strikeouts. Back after this.
More than just the holiday weekend here. We've been on baby watch the last few days, and our dear friend and colleague at Fox Sports Arizona, Kate Longworth, where her little boy finally arrived right on time, actually. She and her husband Brian and new baby brother Jace, they welcome Nash Timothy, born on June 30th, 8 pounds 4 ounces. And guys, you know, Kate's saying, you know, she's kind of holding her breath. Nash is a lefty, but I got to tell you, everybody's happy and healthy, and he is so cute. What a cute little baseball hat. I don't know if she got that, but I needed to have that with my little ones.
It's a great picture. Congratulations. Ketel Marte, deep drive, right field. This ball's at the wall, and it dies right there on the track. Marte, the shortstop today, gave it a ride. It's allowed, out number 1.
Yeah, congratulations to Brian and Kate, and welcome to Nash, the newest D-backs fan.
Right. Getting a lot of Diamondback fans these days. 20 games over 500. And looking at a playoff spot. Taijuan Walker. 5 in a row set down by German Marquez. Taiwan 5 hits on the year. Little squib shot back to the mound. It's a race to see who's going to go slower here, and Marquez wins. Now we go to the top of the order. Gregor Blanco struck out looking to lead off the ball game. Gregor Blanco, 3 doubles and a triple in his last 11 at bats. Bat has really come alive here this weekend. Base hit under the glove of LeMahieu at second. Blanco aboard, a 2-out single. First D-backs hit today against German Marquez.
Well, that'll break the seal. Hopefully many more to come. Fastball down and in, right where Blanco likes it. Hard top spin grounder, gets by LeMahieu on into right center field. Might be one of those 2-out rallies.
There's the Herminator. He struck out his first time up. Herman doubled in his start behind the plate here Friday night. Dave McKay coaching at first. Mayhew at second, really deep on the outfield grass. Blanco 7 for 8 in his stolen base attempts this year. They'll keep an eye on him. See how far back LeMahieu is. Hit it right at him. Well, that's why he was standing there in the perfect spot. Takes a base hit away from Herman and keeps it scoreless. Score at Chase Field. Fans, the can't miss event of the summer is coming up from South Beach in Miami. Baseball's biggest stars take the field for the MLB All-Star Game at Marlins Park. It's coming up July 11th only on Fox. And we find out in just about 2 hours from now which Diamondbacks will be there. Hopefully we'll see a whole bunch. Paul Goldschmidt, Jake Lamb, Zach Greinke, Robbie Ray, Chris Owings, Fernando Rodney, all guys who deserve spots. Archie Bradley. Not going to get them all in there, but hopefully as many as we can. Mark Reynolds leads off the 4th. Reynolds struck out looking to win the 1st. He has now struck out 7 times in 9 at-bats in the series. Taijuan Walker 6 strikeouts so far. He's given up only 2 hits, both singles. No walks. He has hit a batter. Padres have taken the early lead on the Dodgers. San Diego's up 1-0 in the 1st at Petco Park. Yolis Chacin versus Kenta Maeda. 1-2 on Reynolds. This is pretty well hit. Deep right center. Owings is there. That'll bring up Ian Desmond, who got plunked in the back with a Walker fastball to lead off the 2nd. He's got 1 hit in this series. He singled and walked in his start on Friday night. Desmond grounded out as a pinch hitter to win the ball game last night. That cutter just missed. It's 1-0. Ian Desmond has been a singles hitter. That's not what they paid for. $70 million over the winter in free agent money. He's got only 12 extra base hits all year and plays half his games at Coors Field. Doesn't make sense. Here's the skipper Bud Black and his bench coach Mike Redmond.
Of course, the Rockies had no way of knowing that Mark Reynolds was going to be the offensive force that he's been so far this season. I have to believe that that's $70 million they'd rather have in their pockets right now.
They also had to give up a 1st-round draft pick to sign him because they had the Rangers had offered Desmond that qualifying offer, which he declined. Bud Black's Rockies really scuffling, 1-7. As they close their 3-city 9-game road trip today, all against division rivals. First walk of the ball game. Desmond a 1-out walk here in the 4th.
Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located at Chase Field during any D-backs home game.
Right fielder, Raimel Tapia.
Raimel Tapia struck out his 1st time up. Rockies were swept in Los Angeles last weekend. They were swept in San Francisco last week, and their trip concludes today, the rubber game of this 3-game set. Double play ball here. Drury kicks it, and they won't get anything.
Off the heel of the glove, just didn't look it all the way into the mitt that time. Maybe getting ahead of himself just a little, getting into position to shovel that ball over to Ketel Marte, and couldn't come up with it cleanly.
Well, that's a killer because that should have gotten Walker out of the inning. Instead, it's 1st and 2nd 1-out for Trevor Story. Second D-backs error of the ball game. And we've certainly seen games sporadically over the course of the year where the Diamondbacks defense has cost them big time.
I mean, pretty much that whole month of June, the only time the D-backs lost is when they kind of beat themselves, made bad defensive plays, couldn't come up with plays that they should make, extended some innings, gave the opposition a few extra at bats, and it cost them.
Yeah, one of those games was a Taijuan Walker start at Coors Field early in the year against these Rockies. Story struck out his 1st time up. So Story has now struck out at least once in 11 straight games. In fact, in his last 11 games, he has struck out in half of his at bats.
Wow.
third in the league in strikeouts. 50 pitches for Taiwan, 33 strikes. That's a base hit. This is going to get Desmond home from second, and the Rockies have a 1-0 lead. Well, again, the Diamondbacks defense has cost them for the moment at least 1 run.
Cutter off that outside corner, right off the end of the bat of Trevor Story. Little soft line drive into center field. No chance to get Desmond at home plate on that softly hit ball into center field.
Mike Butcher going to pay Taijuan Walker a visit here as Ryan Hannigan, the catcher, steps in. By the way, the Dodgers have named their 3 starters for the series in LA that starts on Tuesday. Clayton Kershaw, Alex Wood, and Rich Hill will start for the Dodgers Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. First game coming up Tuesday night on Fox Sports Arizona. That'll be Patrick Corbin against Clayton Kershaw. Dodgers trailing at San Diego right now, still 1-0 Padres. Second start in this series for Ryan Hannigan, just called back up from AAA Albuquerque on Friday. Toppy the runner at second, and Story at first. Hannigan had an RBI single here Friday night. Robbie Hammock in the Diamondback dugout. Another double play chance. Marte, Drury for 1, and they roll it. Rockies take a 1-0 lead. Baseball break presented by T-Mobile. What else is happening around the world of the major leagues? All-star rosters will be revealed in a little under 2 hours from now, 4 o'clock Arizona time. And the Boston Red Sox swept a series in Toronto this weekend. They outscored the Blue Jays 29-6 in 3 games. Michael Brenly's boys won today 15-1.
Mookie Betts had a big day. At least 2 home runs, at least 8 runs driven in last time I checked.
Goldie leads off the 4th.
That's a beautiful sight.
We saw some members of the Army Recruiting Battalion take the oath of enlistment before the game today. I want to welcome all our servicemen and women to the ballpark this afternoon. It's really good ceremonial first pitch by U.S. Air Force Colonel James Wright. And Airman First Class Timothy Orr nailed the national anthem big time. Got a huge ovation. Goldie walked in his first plate appearance today. Curveball's a strike, 1-2. Goldie singled last night, still his only hit in this series. He's in a 2 for 18 right now at the plate. So some of these bats have been a little quiet as of late. Brandon Drury, Paul Goldschmidt. 2-2.
Talking about the members of the military here with us today. Before yesterday's ball game, retired Navy Chief Petty Officer Stephen Powell sang the anthem again. He's becoming somewhat of a regular here at Chase Field. Did another tremendous job.
Yeah, he's awesome. Able to lay off that hard changeup. Marquez wanted it, and the count is full, 3-2. Either he wanted it or he was sure Goldie would swing at it. Either way, the count is full. Trying to get that curveball in there. Second walk for Goldie today. Leadoff man aboard in the 4th. That brings up Jake Lamb.
Third baseman, Jake Lamb.
Great seats on the home run porch here at Chase Field. Hanging out right over the center field playing surface. That's one of the best seats in baseball right there. Jake flied out his first time up. 1 for 8 in the series. That one changeup got away from Marquez, and that concerns Ryan Hannigan just a bit. He tried to throw that curveball to Goldie on the previous pitch and missed big time. Now an ugly changeup there to start on Lamb. So a little pep talk there from his veteran catcher. And man Marquez, 22-year-old rookie. Fastball's a strike, and it's 1-1 on Lamb. Jake this year compared to last season, a lot more line drives, and he's pulling the ball a little more often, not going to center field or to left field quite as much as he did last year. He's off that high changeup. He's ahead 2 balls and 1 strike. A look down to Tony Parashchica coaching at third today. Two and two. This is where against a right-hander Marquez might go to that curveball, but against the lefty, he's got the change-ups, got the slider. Hannigan sets up in. Tried to throw that curveball. Another one got away from him. He's missed badly the last several times he's tried to throw that pitch, and it's a full count 3-2.
And Ryan Hannigan trying to figure out, is it a mechanical issue or is he just trying to overthrow those pitches?
That curveball's a big pitch for him. He needs it. Goldie holds and Lamb strikes out. Went to the fastball. 5 strikeouts for Marquez.
On that inside corner, belt high. It's a pitch Jake usually does some damage with. Swung right through that one.
Well, there's meeting on the mound now. If you're Ryan Hannigan and you've seen those last few curveballs, what does that do in terms of putting down some fingers?
Well, you still have to stick with it because, as you mentioned, that is his out pitch. That's what he likes to go to in 2-strike counts to both righties and lefties. So maybe you back off of it a little bit here in this inning, go to more cutters, go to more change-ups, but you have to still continue to call for that pitch from time to time and hope he can find the release point on that curveball.
Chris Owings, a strikeout victim, his first time up today. Goldie at first, 1 out. Well, I tell you one thing, if he comes in with a fastball on CO, he's going to wish he hadn't, the way Owings has been hitting lately. Last 12 games, he's got 14 hits, 6 doubles, 4 homers. There it goes, high in the air. Did he get enough? Deep left field, Desmond at the wall, and it's gone! Another home run for Chris Owings. That's his 12th, and it's 2-1 Diamondbacks. Extra base hits in 5 consecutive games for Chris Owings, his 3rd home run in the series.
Well, they did come in at 87 right there on the inner third of the plate. Measured this one perfectly just out of the reach of Ian Desmond out there in left field.
A Jumbo Jack, a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink at Jack in the Box. Here's Brandon Drury. Boy, the home run power of Chris Owings. His previous career high for home runs in a season had been 6. That was his 12th, and it's July 2nd. Just the 7th home run given up all year by German Marquez. Drury flied out on the first pitch he saw, his first time up. Tried to wait on that curveball, 1-2. That's why that pitch is so important for Marquez. 50 pitches, 29 strikes.
For Chris Owings, his last 7 hits have all gone for extra bases.
Unbelievable.
He's in a rut. Every time he hits the ball, it leaves the park or finds a gap.
Last 13 games, including today, CO has 6 doubles and 5 homers. Well, hopefully he's on the All-Star team. We'll find out at 4 o'clock Arizona time. 1-2 on Brandon Drury. Tries to dunk this one in front of Desmond, who comes in and makes the grab, but he may have injured himself. Ian Desmond limping around in left field. Trainer's running out there from the Rockies dugout. It's been a difficult season for Ian Desmond after signing that 5-year, $70 million free agent contract. Remember, he was hit by a pitch in spring training and missed the first month of the season. Maybe caught a cleat in that grass.
I'm not sure exactly what happened. It looked like it happened very early in his pursuit of that fly ball in shallow left field. He was limping as he got to the ball to make the catch.
Desmond didn't get his season started until April 30th. Made his Rockies debut right here at Chase Field. In fact, he suffered that fractured left hand hit by a pitch in spring training and needed surgery. $70 million, the biggest free agent contract the Rockies have ever given a position player. Bud Black out there to check on him.
Yeah, looks like he can't go.
Well, the last thing the Rockies need is another injured outfielder. They already have 3 on the disabled list. They're without David Dahl, Gerardo Parra, and Carlos Gonzalez. All 3 of those guys are on the DL right now. And now they'll have to take Desmond out of the game. Here's Mike Tauchman, who got the start in left field last night. The rookie just called up because they have so many outfielders on the DL. And they are really hurting right now, Colorado. Carlos Gonzalez has a strained right shoulder. It's a right quad injury for Gerardo Parra. He hasn't played since June 6th. David Dahl, their outstanding young prospect, the 10th overall pick in the draft a few years ago. He hasn't played all year. He's got a serious rib problem. And now Desmond limps off.
No manager ever likes to see one of his players walk off the field because of an injury, but I think every manager in the major leagues would agree. You hate to see an outfielder go down out on the warning track. That's a long way to go. Buddy Black was just getting out to left field about the time he and Desmond said, "I don't think I can play anymore."
Well, you think about that horrific collision we saw here very early last year when Dexter Fowler collided with Kyle Schwarber of the Cubs, and Schwarber, poor guy, was laying on the track in deep left center field, had to be carted off. So Tauchman replaces Desmond in left. 2 runs are in after the Owings homer. Bases empty, 2 outs for Chris Iannetta, who struck out his first time up.
Well, and if history holds true, Tauchman will probably get a tough knuckleball line drive hit to him sometime during Chris Iannetta's at bat here.
No question.
Seems like it always happens when a guy comes into the game as a defensive replacement or part of a double switch. That first batter seems to always hit the ball to the new player.
And Marquez lost the handle on that fastball, and it's 1-1. Marquez has really thrown some scuds up there today. He's walked 2, struck out 5. Giving up just 2 hits. Blanco single and an Owings homer. 1-2 on Chris Iannetta. Iannetta lately has been a lot like Chris Owings. Iannetta 4 doubles in his last 4 games. He's been an extra base hit machine lately. Down the left field line. Foul. Well, he tried to hit it to Tauchman. Couldn't keep it fair.
Just on the wrong side of the pole into the D-backs bullpen, but a foul ball.
Iannetta, 14 of his last 15 hits have been for extra bases. 8 doubles and 6 home runs. Strikes out for the second time today. A 97-mile-an-hour fastball from Marquez, but Chris Owings homers his 12th of the year, doubling his previous career high. Through 4, D-backs lead it 2-1. Diamondbacks at 2-1 lead as we start the 5th here at Chase Field. And D-backs fans, if you can't watch your game on TV, stream it live on your mobile device. Just use Fox Sports Go. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the app and take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. A lot of people using Fox Sports Go these days, streaming Diamondback games on their phone or tablet, computer, you name it.
Supported devices.
Yeah, it's a great service, becoming more and more popular. Germán Marquez, the pitcher, leads off the Colorado 5th. Taijuan Walker so far has walked 1 and hit a batter. He's got 6 strikeouts. That one got the best of Chris Iannetta back there.
I think Marquez may have caught him with the backswing there. Fastball up around the shoulders, and that long backswing catches him on the left elbow. Ouch. You got to do a lot more than that to hurt Chris Iannetta.
Oh yeah.
Guy took a 93-mile-an-hour fastball to the face earlier this season and volunteered to play the next day.
Could give you an at bat. Yeah, they did a remarkable job. I talked to Chris just a couple of days after that, and you would never know that he'd ever been hit like that. Lost parts of a few teeth and had a big cut on his lip, but boy, he looked gorgeous a couple of days later.
I don't know about gorgeous.
Well, the catchers. Broken bat to short. Ketel Marte.
Hey fans, crush home runs and dominate in your very own Derby competition in the official MLB.com Home Run Derby game on the App Store and Google Play. Swing for the fences against more than 10 million players from around the world as your favorite Derby All-Star. Download Home Run Derby for free today.
That's a great seat up there. The Friday's Front Row Sports Grill. Get a table, get comfortable, lots of snacks, watch Diamondback baseball in the cool air-conditioned comfort of Chase Field. Charlie Blackmon 0 for 2. Coming off an 0 for 4 last night. That's fouled away. It's 0-1. Diamondbacks are in Los Angeles after the game today. 3-game series at Dodger Stadium starts Tuesday, but we're back here on Friday, so it's just a quick 3-game road trip. 3 against the Reds starting on the 7th. 7, 8, 9, then the All-Star break. Blackmon knocks that one into right, a 1-out single. Blackman leading the league in hits as his first base hit here today. Brings up DJ LeMahieu.
Second baseman, DJ LeMahieu.
Well, we talked about LeMahieu in his previous at bats in this ball game. What an opposite field hitter he is, and this sets up for him perfectly with the runner on base ahead of him. And we know how often Charlie Blackmon gets on base. And with LeMahieu's opposite field approach, that entire right side of the infield is just about wide open for him.
Yeah, Goldie's got to hold Blackmon on the bag at first. Blanco in center is shaded over a bit toward the pool, but there's still lots of room out there for LeMahieu. Only 25% of the balls he puts into play are hit to his pull field. Everything's to center or to right. LeMahieu a few years ago figured out that this was the approach that would work for him. He became a guy who knew what his strengths were, what his weaknesses were, and decided just, hey, I'm going to strengthen the strengths. So hit the ball to the other side of the field. He knew he wasn't going to hit for a ton of power. But that approach certainly worked at Big Coors Field last year, won a National League batting title, and there it is. He knocks it into right. A pair of one-out singles ahead of Nolan Arenado.
Sticking with the process. We hear hitters talk about that all the time, and for DJ LeMahieu, that's staying inside the ball and utilizing that opposite field. He does it as well as any hitter in baseball.
Some work to do here for Taijuan Walker. 2 on, 1 out. Arenado 1 for 2. He singled in the first. Four hits in the series. Remember, Arenado not as patient this year as he was last year. He's been aggressive early in counts again. Missed with a cutter slider in the dirt. 1-0.
Dwayne Espy, the hitting coach for the Colorado Rockies. That's a pretty secure job to have, I would think.
They generally hit pretty well. Up the middle and into center. Blackmon around third, and that'll tie the ball game. 3 consecutive one-out singles for the Rockies, and it's 2-2.
First baseman.
Arenado, he keeps his head down on that ball almost to an exaggerated point. Right down the barrel of the bat, just a clean line drive up the middle of the field. We know the kind of power this guy has, driving the ball to all fields, but with runners in scoring position, he just wants to make sure to make solid contact, put the ball in play somewhere.
Well, he's got 62 runs batted in now. That's 4th most in baseball. There's the guy who's right behind him on that list, Mark Reynolds, who's 0 for 2 today. Del Marte, it's short. Drury for 1. They roll it. Second double play. Turned behind Taijuan Walker in 2 innings, but the Rockies get the equalizer. We're tied at 2.
about this for our State Farm winning combo? Jose Altuve and Mike Judge.
Mike Judge is Beavis and Butthead.
I'm sorry. Aaron Judge. One of those.
Does that make me Beavis?
Altuve 5'6", Judge 6'7".
Innocent mistake.
Well, yeah. There are a lot of names in this game.
Nobody
you can't get them all right all the time.
Nobody panic. Ketel Marte.
Well, the point being that those two guys were separated by a point in batting average. One of them 6'7", the other was 5'6", which might be a stretch for Jose Altuve.
Ketel Marte, a leadoff single.
Judge weighs 282. Altuve weighs 165.
That's the beauty of the game. There's another tall guy. You can be really good and be really short or really tall. Taijuan Walker.
Sure it isn't Mike Walker? These names, I just go by the numbers.
Marte takes off. Here's the throw from Hannigan. And he's in there. Stolen base for Ketel Marte. Well, one of the things they like so much about Ketel Marte is his athleticism. Hannigan thought he had him there. It's a pretty good throw.
You'll see the tag of Trevor Story here.
Yeah, they're going to challenge this, and they're going to win.
Not a great slide by a guy who has base stealing speed in Ketel Marte. This one's going to be overturned.
Jerry Lane, the second base umpire, and the crew chief with his back to you there on the left, and Marvin Hudson, the plate umpire, on the right. And this is a Rockies challenge. You saw Hannigan's reaction. You just saw the replay on the DBTV board, and that was the shortest replay ever. So Hannigan throws out Marte. That's a caught stealing, and it's a 1-0 count on Taijuan Walker. Torey Lovello on the phone with Alan Campbell, Diamondback video coordinator. I got some good news. This will cheer you up.
Okay.
Padres have taken a 4-0 lead on the Dodgers at Petco Park. They're in the second inning.
Right.
4 early runs against Kenta Maeda for San Diego. Yolis Chacin starting for the Padres. That's about as big a cut as we've seen Taijuan take.
Well, he's a hitter. He's got a 3-game hitting streak. He's 4 for 9 with 2 RBIs over his last 3 games.
Got 5 hits on the year. He scored 3 times. A couple of RBIs. That was one of the big hits in that game 2 starts ago at Coors Field when he blooped that little 2-run single, part of that big inning. Runs this one out to center for Blackman. Gregor Blanco now. He singled his last time up. Diamondbacks still with only 3 hits against German Marquez.
Blanco doing a nice job. He was stalling for a little time. I watched him wait in the on-deck circle until Taijuan Walker was about halfway off the field. Then he slowly walked up to the plate. Did some housekeeping there in that left-handed batter's box, and by then Taijuan was back in the dugout talking to the skipper. Gave him just an extra few seconds to get back in that dugout, get his jacket back on, get a drink of water, get ready to go back out and pitch.
Gregor Blanco, not his first rodeo.
No.
Great additions to this Diamondback squad, along with Daniel Descalso, Jeff Mathis, Chris Iannetta, a lot of the new guys that the front office brought in. All valuable contributors to a 51-31 record here. Two and two. 99 miles an hour on that fastball.
And this helps Taijuan Walker as well, not only taking your time getting up to the plate, but then have a lengthy at bat, foul off a few pitches, make Marquez work out there on the mound, and at the same time give your own pitcher a little bit of a rest before he goes back out to the mound.
He's off that slow curveball. He's worked it full 3-2. Just like Daniel Descalso or Chris Iannetta, Jeff Mathis, a lot of times these guys know how to control the strike zone and grind out these at bats. All those guys, very similar makeups that way. Something that the new front office really values. Those are the types of players that they drafted coming out of college. Guys that don't strike out, that are able to organize their strike zones. Sends this out to Tauchman in left. He dropped one there last night. And he hangs on to that one. Through 5, it's a 2-2 ball game. Valley Toyota presents Let's Go Places. We're on an airplane after this ball game. We head to LA. Day off tomorrow, and a big 3-game series at Dodger Stadium starts Tuesday night. Right now the Dodgers are in San Diego, where the Padres lead LA 4-0 in the third at Petco Park. Patrick Corbin versus Clayton Kershaw on Tuesday night. Zach Godley, Alex Wood on Wednesday, and then Thursday Zach Greinke, the former Dodger, up against Rich Hill. First at bat tonight for Mike Tauchman, who took over in left field, replacing the injured Ian Desmond. Tauchman only 9 plate appearances in the big leagues, 1 for 4 in the series. Got the start in left field last night, had a single. Taijuan Walker so far has given up 2 runs on 6 hits. One of those runs unearned. He's walked 1, struck out 6. He's got 2 double play balls behind him, just in case. Taijuan able to knock it down. Hockman is retired to open up the 6th. Here's Raimel Tapia.
Right fielder, Raimel Tapia.
Tapia hit a ball that should have ended the 4th inning with a double play. Brandon Drury couldn't collect it. It was E4. That set up the Rockies with runners at first and second, 1 out. Story had an RBI single. And Colorado took a 1-0 lead. Diamondbacks answered with 2 in the bottom of the 4th on a Chris Owings 2-run homer, his 12th of the year. And then in the top of the 5th, 3 straight Rockies singles. An Arenado RBI to tie it at 2. Tapia in his last 16 games hitting .365. He's had a good series. 3 hits, including a double and a home run. Got him. 96 from Taijuan Walker. That's his 7th strikeout.
Hey fans, winter is coming and the Night King is rising, I guess. Game of Thrones night is this Friday, July 7th, right here at Chase Field. Get an exclusive Taijuan Walker Night King bobblehead and a lower level baseline reserve ticket for just $50 with a Game of Thrones special event ticket pack. Limited quantities are available for this one, and you must have the special event ticket pack to get this bobblehead. Visit dbacks.com/GOT.
This is the Taijuan Walker Night King bobblehead. We have an advanced copy up on our booth here. Comes in this box, so this is a must-have item. It's perched up on the box here in the middle of our booth. Well, Story gets hit. Walker hit Desmond earlier in the ball game. That one got away. That's an important point. You've got to get the special Game of Thrones ticket package to get the bobblehead.
Catcher, Ryan Hannigan.
Here's the catcher, Ryan Hannigan, 0 for 2. We had Zach Greinke starting that Thursday game in LA. That was a adjustment in the rotation. Robbie Ray is going to start that game. July 6th at Dodger Stadium. So they'll get 2 lefties in there. Corbin on Tuesday, Ray on Thursday, with Godley in between the 2 left-handers. And anytime you can get a left-hand starter against that Dodger lineup, which is left-hand heavy, that's good news. Some of those key bats like Seager and Bellinger and Gonzalez, all those guys. Peterson. Big advantage to have a left-hander going there. Zach Godley starts the Wednesday game against Alex Wood.
Turn Yasmani Grandal around to the right side of the plate where he's not nearly as effective or powerful.
2-0 on Ryan Hannigan. Rockies, by the way, are reporting that Ian Desmond's injury is just a cramp. It's a right calf cramp. So Desmond, who limped off the field in the middle of that 4th inning, had to come out. So that's good news for Colorado and Bud Black. Fastball's a strike, and it's 2-2. Well, Hannigan walking out of the box, nodding his head yes. Pitcher Marquez on deck. Story takes off with a pitch, and that one's fouled back. Trevor Story runs with that wrist all taped up. He had surgery, torn ligament in his left thumb. Didn't play a game last season after July 30th, missed the last 2 months, so he keeps that thing all protected.
Still hit 27 home runs in his rookie season.
It was quite a debut for Trevor Story. 27 homers in 97 games last year, so you think another 2 months of that, he would have ended up with maybe 40 or so. He homered in each of his first 4 major league games. 10 homers in his first month in the big leagues last year. That tied a major league rookie record for April. Still 2-2 on Ryan Hannigan. Tony Diaz coaching at first for the Rockies. Story takes off again, pitches a ball. Throw gets by Marte and gets by Drury, and Story gets third base. Awkward throw for Mayanetta, sailing almost toward right center field. It got by both Diamondback middle infielders there, and Story's at third.
That'll be a stolen base for Trevor Story and another D-backs error, probably on Chris Iannetta, short hopping that throw into second base. Unfortunately deflected off of Marte's glove away from Brandon Drury, who was backing up the play, and by the time the D-backs retrieved it, Trevor Story's on at third base.
That's the third Diamondback error of the ball game. One of the errors has already cost them 1 run. Now it's a 3-2 count on Hannigan with 2 outs and Story at third. Got it. Taijuan Walker takes care of that. 8 strikeouts. We're tied at 2.
Well, a lot of talk about the great fans this weekend, the club's great start, and the crowds have been great. And those guys, they're loving the catchers, and the fans are really loving Chris Herman, the Herminator. Ooh, in fact, Chris just got this as he walked into the ballpark today. Some fans brought this to him from a fan that could not get out to the ballpark, but it was made by this one particular fan, and it's just outstanding. Look at that. I mean, he's going to keep that in his locker right there. All the guys were coming over taking a look at it. But Chris Herman, the versatility, a couple walk-offs this year, and by the way, just a great guy, great teammate, and the fans are loving him.
The Herminator, Jody, leads off the 6th here. He's 0 for 2 so far. I'll be balked. The Herminator shift is in place. Trevor Story, the shortstop, behind the bag at second. 3 infielders on the right-hand side. First, last time up, hit one right on the button to deep right field, and LeMahieu, the second baseman, was way out there, and he didn't have to move to catch it. That's that changeup, up and away. It's 2-1. Germán Marquez. 77 pitches, 47 for strikes. He's not been especially sharp today, but he's only given up 3 hits. Both Diamondback runs coming on Chris Owings' 2-run homer in the 4th. He's walked 2, struck out 6. Look out, Dave McKay. Oh boy, Rodney Morrison begged off there. Think about that. Dave McKay didn't even flinch.
He's seen a few foul balls come down his way over the course of his career as a first base coach, so he knows when he needs to duck, when he needs to jump. That time he just held his ground.
Full count, 3-2. We always talk about Dave McKay and how he always stands in the exact same spot. Goldie on deck. You can see the ground underneath his feet. It's getting a little worn. He always stands with his feet in exactly the same place, so he gets the same angle all the time. That one stays fair. Reynolds at first. 1 away.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Paul Goldschmidt has walked twice today. He scored once, came home in the Owings homer. That was back in the 4th inning. He had a 2-home run game off Marquez earlier this year. Fastball's a strike. Marquez here in the 6th inning, just over 80 pitches, still throwing upper 90s. 0-2 on Goldie. There's that curveball that he likes, especially in 2-strike counts to right-handers. Not getting away from him quite like it was earlier in the ball game. That seemed to have calmed down a bit. Fastball away. It's 1-2. Fly ball, right field, Tapia. 2 outs. Well, this is a good start for Germán Marquez. He's not been pitching deep into games lately. In fact, he's pitched fewer than 6 innings in 6 of his last 8 starts. And he pitched more than 5 innings only once in 5 starts last month. but he's given up only 2 runs through 5 2/3 so far. And with 2 outs and the bases empty, here's Jake Lamb, who's 0 for 2.
Good curveball there to start the sequence. Dropped it right on that inside corner.
Jake 1 for 9 in the series. Had a double here Friday night. There's the defensive alignment against him. And Mayhew back on the grass at second. Went back to that curveball. Didn't go, says Mike Estabrook. It's 1-1.
Challenging series upcoming for Jake Lamb against the Dodgers with 3 left-handed starters in that 3-game series.
Matchup of lefties in the series opener coming up Tuesday. Patrick Corbin against Clayton Kershaw. After that for LA, it's Alex Wood and Rich Hill. Still 4-0 in San Diego. Dodgers trailing the Padres. They're in the 3rd. D-backs 3.5 games behind LA for the NL West lead. 3.5 games ahead of Colorado for the first wild card spot. 90 pitches, 57 strikes for Marquez. 1-2. Another good crowd here today. Nearly 35,000 with us. It's a tapper to the other side. Arenado barehands it. And the throw gets behind Reynolds. Lamb gets second.
Probably should go as an infield hit for Jake Lamb, and then the throwing error by Nolan Arenado allowing him to advance on to second base. Barehanded play, throws across his body on a short hop.
He still almost got him.
Almost.
Here comes Chris Owings, who homered his last time up. He's homered 3 times in the series. The home run is 12th of the year, doubling his previous career high.
12 homers on the season, and just right off the top of my staff's head here, that's more than Miguel Cabrera, Josh Donaldson, Buster Posey, Albert Pujols, Ryan Braun, or Carlos Gonzalez.
Wow.
Now Mark Trumbo was on the list, but he hit number 12 today.
Jake Lamb at second, 2 outs. Owings, who homered twice here Friday, did this in the 4th.
Boom.
Our Cox high-speed highlights.
12th home run of the season, also his 49th run driven in. That's the same number of RBIs as he had all season last year.
Amazing. That made it 2-1 Diamondbacks. Rockies tied it up 2-2 in the top of the 5th. Well, Chris feels like he's kind of spread out a little bit more at the plate. Sees the ball a little better. Got those quick hands. He can get to anything inside. Trying to get Lamb home from second. That's out of play. Hannigan wants to make sure here.
Well, knowing Marquez the way we do, this is the 4th time we've seen him already this season, and also knowing Chris Owings the way we do, I got to believe he's just going to throw him curveballs till he either gets him out or walks him.
That's his preferred 2-strike pitch against a right-hand hitter. called that one. Missed in with it badly, and it's 2-2. Can you sit on that curveball knowing he's got 97 in his back pocket?
Not with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Earlier in the count, maybe, but not with 2 strikes. You've got to be ready to hit his fastest pitch and adjust to everything else.
2-2. That was an adjustment right there. You called it. 2 consecutive curveballs down. It's full.
With the base open and Brandon Drury on deck, who has struggled throughout this series. This seems to make all the sense in the world. Kind of a pitch around.
Able to lay off. Nothing but curveballs there for Marquez, and he walked him. 2 on and 2 out in a 2-2 game for Drury, who's 0 for 2.
No time to bust out, Brandon.
3rd walk of the ball game issued by Germán Marquez. Here comes Steve Foster, the pitching coach. This is a big spot for Drury, who's really fighting it right now. He is 3 for his last 30 up there. 0 for 2 today.
And he swung at the first pitch in both of his first 2 at-bats today. Flied out to right field in his first at-bat. Deeper in the count, flied out to left field in his second at-bat.
Really want to try and take 2 or 3 from these guys. Rockies won the opener here Friday 6-3. Diamondbacks 6-2 winners last night. This one tied up 2-2 in the 6th. Lamb at second, Owings at first, and 2 outs. Scott Oberg gets busy in the Colorado bullpen. He threw 1 2/3 innings last night. Looks at a fastball in for strike 1. That's what you mentioned in Brandon's last at bat, Bob. Patient early, falls behind it, counts quickly.
Yep, and then pitchers expand the zone on him, and he ends up chasing some bad pitches, weak contact. Just in one of those little, it's more of a mental funk than anything else. You're just not thinking along with that pitcher out there on the mound.
Got him on a changeup, and right away Brandon's in an 0-2 hole. Dave Maggott in the hitting coach. Marquez about to throw his 100th pitch of the afternoon. Just foul down the third base line. There's Bam Bam Balderrama, our Golden Glover, in left field today. A 100 pitches for Marquez, 63 strikes. Ahead of Drury, 0-2. Base hit. They're waving Lamb home. 3-2 Diamondbacks. Brandon Drury is in there. Well, that's how you snap a 3 for 30.
Waited on that breaking ball nicely. That's a curveball that stays right in the middle of the plate for Brandon. Bangs it out there toward the gap in left center field. That's going to score Lamb from second base easily. Good base running there by CO to turn the corner and head to third base. And in the meantime, Brandon Drury advances safely into second base.
That'll be it for Airman Marquez. Bud Black is going out there to get him with Iannetta coming up. Diamondbacks trying to take 2 of 3 from Colorado. They've just taken a 3-2 lead. We'll take a break from Chase. Lead here. A clutch 2-out RBI double by Brandon Drury is the last pitch thrown by Airman Marquez here today as Scott Oberg comes in from the Rockies bullpen. We saw him get 5 outs for Bud Black in the ball game last night on just 10 pitches. His 38th appearance of the year. And Chris Iannetta, the hitter, with a chance to really pad this lead. Second and third, 2 outs.
And another one of those 2-out rallies for the Diamondbacks. Chris Herman grounded to first. Goldie flied out to right, and then Jake Lamb reached on the base hit. E5 by Nolan Arenado, the walk to Owings, and then the RBI single by Drury. Another 2-out rally rather.
Iannetta has struck out both times up against Marquez today. Now he gets a look at Oberg. Yes, he checked Tom Woodring. 2-0. Chris Iannetta 4 for his last 12 with runners in scoring position. Former starter Antonio Senzatella, who lost his spot in the rotation, now warming up in the bullpen. Ruby De La Rosa started warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Pitcher spot is coming up after Ketel Marte, who's on deck. There's Ruby in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Iannetta in his last 12 at bats with runners in scoring position has 4 doubles and 8 runs batted in. He's ahead 2 balls and a strike. Look at Oberg get that grip, Bob, on the baseball as he leans in for the sign.
That's that circle change grip. He starts with that because that's the most difficult grip to get once you go into the glove. You start with the most difficult one and work your way back.
Pop up to center for Blackman. And Broberg strands two, but Brandon Drury, a big 2-out RBI hit, gives the D-backs a 3-2 lead. The Rockies 3-2, sent for the top of the 7th inning. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. After the ball game today, we fly to Los Angeles. Day off there tomorrow, and then a huge 3-game series at Dodger Stadium starts Tuesday night. D-backs have 2 lefties going in that 3-game set. Patrick Corbin versus Clayton Kershaw Tuesday. Zach Godley, Alex Wood Wednesday. Robbie Ray and Rich Hill on Thursday. All 3 games for you right here on Fox Sports Arizona. And right now, the Dodgers are trailing the Padres at Petco Park 4-0. They're in the 4th.
Manuel Margot with a home run for the Padres in that game against the Dodgers.
So if these 2 scores can hold, the Diamondbacks will be only 2.5 games behind LA's NL West lead when that series begins. Alexi Amarista bats for the pitcher to lead off the 7th against Taijuan Walker. Amarista 271, 2 home runs. He got the start at second base last night, was 0 for 3. Walker has walked 1, struck out 8 so far today. He's had 3 errors behind him. That hasn't helped. Sanderson Ford bullpen. Both De La Rosas. It's dueling De La Rosas. Jorge the left-hander and Ruby the right-hander. A little confusing down there. He's get De La Rosa up. Both of them. 3-2 is sliced out to left for Chris Herman.
You know, that upcoming series with the Dodgers, for the regular players, for the everyday players, they don't pay a lot of attention to upcoming starters because they're going to be in the lineup regardless. But platoon players, they pay a lot of attention to upcoming starters. This would have been my dream series against the Dodgers when I was platooning with Milt May for the Giants.
Going to get a lot of Brenly in this series. Well, it matters to guys like David Peralta and Jake Lamb too.
Sure. And which position will Chris Owings play?
Yeah, might have to play a couple of games out there in right field because you've got now Ketel Marte who can switch hit. He can play shortstop. Blackman singled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 3. It all starts Tuesday night on Fox Sports Arizona. A couple of lefties in that one. Corbin and Kershaw. See where Brandon Drury is out there in short right field. Middle of the field is wide open for Blackman, especially on the first base side. Two and 2. Deep us into a game Taiwan has gone this year. 8 innings against the Padres. This will stay playable. Left side, Herman coming in, and he's got it. April 27th, Taiwan Walker, 104 pitches through 8 innings. Here against the Padres, he had 11 strikeouts in that ball game. His high pitch count for the year, 117. That came at Nats Park in D.C. back on May the 2nd. Mike Butcher to the mound. 2 outs, bases empty for LeMahieu. Now, LeMahieu has singled off Walker's last 2 times up, both solid singles into right field. Walker struck him out looking his first time up today. Here comes Marvin Hudson to break this up as the 30-second clock expires.
And once again, as we've seen so many times this year, most of the conversation was coming from the catcher, Chris Iannetta. I'm sure Mike Butcher had something to offer to Taiwan Walker, but then as they started talking about the strategy of facing LeMahieu, it was Chris Iannetta who took over the conversation.
Those catchers, boy,
they're so smart.
They think they know everything. Well, CI knows Taiwan from their days last year in Seattle. So here's LeMahieu, bases empty, 2 outs. Archie Bradley, they're down 1. De La Rosa back there. Jorge sits down. Archie gets up. Walker jumps ahead of LeMahieu, 0-2. Taiwan trying to get through 7 here with a 3-2 lead. High fly ball along the right field line. Owings over there, and it's in the seats. Well, this is obviously the guy you want to get. You'd rather not have him on base for Arenado to continue the inning. Archie, who threw 13 pitches in the ball game last night, he worked the 8th, continues warming up in the bullpen. 1-2. Fastball up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. LeMahieu's first action today since coming out of the game Tuesday at San Francisco with that groin problem.
Get off me, ball. Fastball running up and in on LeMahieu, just a defensive swing to try to fight it off.
Well, that meeting on the mound for Taiwan may have been, based on what we've seen here, just come after him with your hard fastball, because that's pretty much been it so far in this at bat. Just missed down and away. It's a full count, 3-2. Arenado on deck. Could be a big pitch in the ball game here. Bradley still warming up in the bullpen.
Yeah, this could be an empty the tank fastball away here.
3-2. Along the right field line again, and again it's out of play.
Got it up just a little bit, enough that LeMahieu was able to once again fight it off and keep the at bat alive.
Straight heat in this at bat so far for Taiwan. Fought that one off behind second. Drury's got it. Taiwan Walker through 7. And the Diamondbacks have a 3-2 lead. And on this 4th of July holiday weekend, we'll keep it right here at Chase Field as we are set to honor America. A lot of servicemen and women here with us today at the ball game. More than 34,000 And here's the voice of Chase Field, Mr. Chuck Drago.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now ask that you please rise and sing along as we pay tribute to our great nation with the singing of God Bless America.
Fans, lots of fun promotions coming up this summer. Get your tickets Saturday, July 8th, the annual alumni game and collectible cup set giveaway courtesy of Sanderson Ford. Then on Saturday, July 22nd, the Robbie Ray strikeout counter bobblehead courtesy of Sprint. And on August 12th, first 20,000 fans to see the D-backs and the Cubs get the AZ flag cap from Gila River Casinos. Visit dbacks.com to see the full promotional schedule. Ketel Marte leads off the D-backs 7th against the new pitcher for the Rockies, El Principito. Antonio Senzatella. Last time we saw him, he was starting for Colorado against the Diamondbacks, but he lost his rotation spot, despite the fact he was leading all major league rookies with 9 wins. But they got John Gray back healthy, and Senzatella now works in relief. And 9 wins in his first 14 big league starts. But that ERA near 4.7, so he's in the bullpen now, ahead of Marte 0-2. Taijuan Walker is in the on deck circle, and there's no one warming up in the Diamondback bullpen.
This could possibly be one of those wait and see at bats right here. If Marte would happen to reach, maybe they send Taijuan up there to put down a sac bunt. If Marte happens to make out, you might see a pinch hitter.
Just able to get a piece of that slider that got Marvin Hudson back there. Still 1-2. Padres now have a 5-0 lead over the Dodgers. They're in the 4th at Petco Park. David Peralta standing by at the ready. Helmet on, bat in hand. 1-2 to Ketel Marte.
You know, and if indeed that's the circumstance, it's a wait and see at bat. If Marte reaches, maybe Taijuan puts down the sac bunt. If Marte makes out, we'll probably see David Peralta. Used to drive me crazy when you tell the guy that he'd grab his bat, grab his gloves, grab his helmet, and stand on the top step. No, go down the tunnel. I don't want him to see you.
Bounce to first. Senzatella covers. Marte makes it close, but they get him for the first out. So Taijuan, who's at 107 pitches, will head back to the dugout. His day is done. And Peralta will hit for the pitcher.
And the reason that used to upset me a little bit was you don't want to give the other team an opportunity to look over there and say, oh, geez, David Peralta's got a bat. Let's get a lefty up real quick. You want David to take this at bat against a right-handed thrower.
Well, the bullpen had been quiet for the Diamondbacks, but as soon as Taijuan Walker went back into the dugout, the bullpen got busy and Ruby De La Rosa got back up and throwing. So Peralta hits for Walker. David with 3 hits in the series. He doubled twice last night, knocked in 2 runs. 317 and 8 home runs. Let's go freight train. He has been going. You think back to April 16th. At that point in the year, Peralta was hitting 178. But since then, over his last 61 games, he's hit 345. That's 61 games worth of 345. Lines it down the right field line, but he hooked it foul. Jumped on a slider from Senzatella. Center field, Blackman broke back, comes in now, and he's got it, 2 outs. Here's Gregor Blanco, 1 for 3 with a single. Diamondbacks faced Antonio Senzatella at the end of the last road trip. That was the final game of that road trip. They won a 10-3 a day game, and they hammered Senzatella. He gave up 9 runs, all earned in 5 innings. Goldie had a 3-run homer. Chris Owings had a 3-run homer against him. That was the last start he made. After that, it was off to the bullpen. One and one. Rockies in the 8th inning. We'll have Arenado, Reynolds, and Tauchman due up. 3, 4, and 5. Ruby De La Rosa warming up. And behind him, you would imagine Fernando Rodney, who got 2 outs on 8 pitches last night for his 21st save. Hopefully Rodney's an all-star when the team is announced a half hour from now. 3-1 to Blanco. Chris Herman on deck. Taking all the way, it's full 3-2. Jammed him. Very shallow center. Story drifting out there, and he makes the over-the-shoulder catch. We'll head to the 8th inning. Taijuan Walker has given the Diamondbacks a 3-2 lead. The ash line called to the bullpen as Ruby De La Rosa comes out to start the 8th in relief of Taijuan Walker, who was outstanding here today. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game. 7 innings, 6 hits, all singles. He walked 1, had 8 strikeouts.
That's more what we've grown accustomed to seeing from Taijuan Walker today. Overpowering fastball, breaking stuff was good. His changeup was good. Pitched very aggressively against a good offensive team.
And a couple of double plays turned behind him. That helped to end the 4th and the 5th. So here's Ruby to open up the 8th inning against Nolan Arenado, who has 2 singles today. He's 2 for 3. One thing you like especially about Taijuan Walker, Bob, today is he picked up his defense behind him. He had 3 errors committed behind him, and he was able to not let that get to him. Last time the D-backs committed 3 errors in a ball game was the 7th inning against the Cardinals. Ketel Marte spins and throws. It got him. Lot to like about Ketel Marte at shortstop.
Boy, covers a lot of ground. Very smooth. Uses a slide to stop his momentum, get to his feet, and throws Arenado out by a wide margin at first base. Nice play.
Boy, that's a big check mark to make there to retire Arenado for Ruby to open up this inning. Now he'll work to Mark Reynolds, who's 0 for 3.
Yeah, Diamondbacks involved in another 1-run game. They're 17-8 this year. Most wins in the major leagues in 1-run games.
Does that speak to the outstanding job this rebuilt bullpen has done?
I think that has a lot to do with it. Yeah, those guys coming in there putting zeros on the board, giving the offense a chance to get back in the game. Diamondbacks have 28 come from behind wins this year, the most in the majors.
99 miles an hour. Ruby just blows Reynolds away. 2 down. Well, that's Mark Reynolds' 8th strikeout in this series. He's 1 for 12. Here comes Torrey. You've got the left-hand hitting Mike Tauchman coming up. He came on for Desmond, who had to leave with a cramp. And a quick but impressive outing for Ruby De La Rosa. We'll take a break. Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 3-2. This afternoon at Chase Field. D-backs with a 3-2 lead on the Rockies with 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. And we've replaced one De La Rosa with another. Ruby is gone. Here's the left-hander Jorge on to face Mike Tauchman, who's been recalled now, and Bud Black is going to send the right-hand hitting Pat Valaika up there to pinch hit.
Well, Ruby De La Rosa, the first De La Rosa to pitch in this ball game today, set the bar pretty high for Jorge De La Rosa.
Sure did. Struck out Reynolds with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Ruby has really looked good. So here's Valaika. 0 for 4 with a walk in this series. He will hit for Tauchman, who replaced the injured Desmond. Valaika 8 for 26 as a pinch hitter this year. That's a .308 batting average. He's got 5 doubles and a home run as a pinch hitter. Bases empty, 2 outs. I think Valaika will stay in the game and replace Tauchman in left field. Tauchman is Valaika's played out there a little bit this year. Belts that one toward the corner. A hanging splitter from Jorge De La Rosa. Nice catch out there. It's 0-2. Let's see. Is this contract worthy?
Oh, I don't know why it wouldn't be. Look at this.
Oh, outstanding.
Didn't spill a drop.
Dude, there's a beverage here. Oh, and 2. Ooh, Marvin Hudson didn't bite. Fastball just missed. Two and 2. Diamondbacks in the home half of the 8th inning will have 2, 3, and 4 due up. Herman, Goldschmidt, and Lamb. D-backs have been out hit 6-5, but they lead at 3-2. Left field. Valaika's got a knack for that pinch hitting role. A 2-out single brings up Raimel Tapia.
Now 9 for 27 on the season for Bud Black off the bench.
Right fielder, Raimel Tapia.
Tapia struck out twice against Taijuan Walker. Reached on an error by Brandon Drury. Archie Bradley is up again in the Diamondback bullpen. Tapia hits a very high fly ball to right center, playable for Blanco. It'll go to the bottom of the 8th. The Diamondbacks have a 3-2 lead.
I know on the post-game show, a heavy dose of Taijuan Walker, what a day, but that Brandon Drury at bat is going to get a lot of your focus, right?
Well, he drove in the go-ahead run. He was down in the count 0-2, and good for Brandon Drury. He needed that. That got him out of a nice little slide, and that might just perk him up going into a big series in Los Angeles.
But
there's still some ball game
left. Let's get back to Steve and Bob. We'll see you after the show, the game, I should say. Diamondbacks Live, the post-game show, guys.
Hey guys, thanks. These games will make nervous Nellies out of all of us as we cling to a 3-2 lead here. Pat Valaika does indeed stay in the game, replacing Mike Tauchman in left field. And Chris Herman leads off the Diamondbacks' 8th against Antonio Senzatella on in his second inning of relief. The Herminator 0 for 3 so far. Bob, as you mentioned, Diamondbacks 17-8 in games decided by 1 run. The most wins in the major leagues in these types of games. And now Fernando Rodney will start getting loose down in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Rodney got his 21st save of the year here last night. That's what a good changeup will do to you, even at 89.
Senzatella had crazy minor league numbers. He was 41-19 coming up through the Rockies system.
Just a 22-year-old youngster, and he strikes out Herman at 98. First strikeout for Senzatella. Now he's got to work to Goldie. Goldie faced Senzatella at Coors Field at the end of the last road trip, had a single and a 3-run homer against him. Today he's 0 for 1. He's walked twice. Sliders a strike, 0-1.
Yeah, Goldie's just 5 for his last 30. That's a 167 average, but he has walked 9 times, so still getting on base at an amazing clip.
Leading the National League in both runs scored and
catches like this from Goldie in the past. And you know, it lasts maybe a week or 10 days. He still contributes. He's still involved in the offense and obviously involved in the defense, but he's due to bust out here pretty soon.
Looks at a 99-mile-an-hour fastball from Senzatella.
Third baseman, James Lamb.
Off the plate, according to the graphic. Here's Jake Lamb, who singled and scored his last time up. Came home on that Drury RBI double with 2 outs in the 6th that, as Gracie said, made it a 3-2 Diamondback lead. Here's how the Rockies line up against Lamb. Story, the shortstop, behind the second base bag, and LeMahieu, the second baseman, out there in short right. Toward the left field corner. Valaika's out there near the line, and he's got it. So we go to the 9th inning. It's a 1-run lead. Fernando Rodney, who got save number 21 in last night's ball game, is coming in. Diamondbacks can take 2 of 3 in the series. 9th inning next. take 2 of 3 from the Rockies. And on for the second time in as many games, the closer Fernando Rodney, who got his 21st save in the ball game last night. And automatic doesn't really even cover it for Rodney, who has now gone a career best 11 straight appearances without giving up a hit. He has not given up an earned run now in 20 straight games, going all the way back to May the 1st. And he became just the 4th pitcher in baseball history to face at least 28 batters in a single month and not give up a single hit. Only 3 other pitchers had ever done that. So Rodney is on to try and close out a 3-2 lead. Defensive change behind him. Ray Fuentes moves into center, and Gregor Blanco will slide over to left, replacing Chris Herman. So Fuentes in center now, and Blanco in place of the Herminator in left field. Trevor Story was the first batter Rodney faced when he came into the ball game last night. He struck him out looking. Story had an RBI single in the 4th. He's also struck out and been hit by a pitch today. He's got 3 hits in the series. Didn't go, says Tom Woodring. 1-0. Story has struck out 5 times here this weekend. He is 3rd in the National League in strikeouts. Rodney made short work of the Rockies in his appearance last night. Got 2 outs on 8 pitches, including the strikeout of Story. (3-0). Ryan Hannigan, the catcher, is on deck. Pitcher spot after that.
You mentioned that pitcher spot sneaking up for the Rockies. They have only 1 position player available off the bench now. Tony Walters, a backup catcher, so I'm assuming it would be him to take that at bat.
They've already used Tauchman and Valleca. Here's the 3-1 to Story. In the air, center field, Ray Fuentes. First ball finds the new guy, 1 down. Ryan Hannigan 0 for 3 today. And you are correct as always, Bob. Tony Walters has come out in the on-deck circle. Ready to hit for Senzatella. Fastball is strike 1. Base hit into right. Tying runs aboard. And Walters will hit for the pitcher.
And got jammed. That ball down near the trade mark, but got enough of it to loft it over the infield in front of Chris Owings out there in right.
Now Chatwood, Tyler Chatwood, who was the starting pitcher in last night's ball game, wound up with the loss. Will run for the catcher Hannigan at first. He's the tying run. So here's Walters to hit for the pitcher. 288. Mostly a singles hitter, only 7 extra base hits all year. The first base hit given up by Fernando Rodney since May 26th. Today is July 2nd. Center field. That's a base hit for Walters. 2 on and 1 out. Now the heads of state coming up for the Rockies. Blackman will be the hitter.
At the plate, center fielder Charlie Blackman.
Charlie Blackman singled and scored in the 5th. 1 for 4 today. Blackman, a career .350 hitter against the Diamondbacks. Chatwood is the tying run at second. Walters the go-ahead run at first. 1 out. Ten pitches for Fernando Rodney, only half of them for strikes. There's the changeup in. Marvin Hudson didn't like it. It's 2-0.
Yeah, tried to fade it back onto that inside corner. I don't think it quite got to the zone there. Be careful inside to Charlie Blackman. He's got some tremendous pull power.
That's trouble. Chatwood is being waved home from third. Throw is into third base, and the game is tied. 3 consecutive hits against Rodney, who hadn't given up a hit in a month.
Slashing line drive out into that gap in left center field with the pitcher Tyler Chatwood running at second base. Had to hold up momentarily to make sure that ball was going to get down. A very aggressive send by Stu Cole. Wow, man, that run should not have scored.
Well, now you've got the go-ahead run in scoring position with Walters at second, Blackman at first, still only 1 out, and now it is now a 3-3 game. And here's DJ LeMahieu. 2 for 4, a pair of singles today. Last night, a lot of fastballs from Rodney. We're seeing that changeup a lot more here today. Oh, 2. Behind second. Owens coming in. 2 outs. And it's up to Arenado.
Third baseman Nolan Arenado.
Arenado 2 singles today, 1 for an RBI, he's 2 for 4. .62 runs batted in for Nolan Arenado, the 4th most of the major leagues. First and second, 2 outs, a run is in. Another changeup from Rodney, 1-0. Here's that changeup. Tried to check. A ball and a strike. Well, it's going to be one of two pitches. Fastball or changeup. 2 balls and 1 strike to Nolan Arenado. Changeup again. 2-2. Diamondbacks in the bottom of the 9th will have Owings, Drury, Iannetta up 5, 6, and 7. If Rodney can get out of this mess. Reynolds on deck for the Rockies.
Quick visit to the mound by Chris Iannetta, probably verbally telling Fernando Rodney what the next pitch is going to be. Probably won't even give a sign here.
2 on, 2 outs, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Just a nod of the head. Bring it.
In the air, shallow right center. Drury drifting out there, calling for it, and he's got it. So Rodney strands 2, but the Rockies get the equalizer. It's 3-3 as we head to the home half of the 9th. Half of the 9th in a 3-3 ball game, the rubber game of this 3-game series. A big swing game in both the National League West and wild card standings. And on from the Rockies bullpen is the right-hander Adam Ottavino, who in 32 appearances has an ERA over 5. We saw Ottavino pitch of the ball game here on Friday nights. Got 2 outs. Or 1 out, pardon me. Also walked the batter. Remember, they pinch ran for Ryan Hannigan, the catcher, so Tony Walters, who got one of those pinch singles in the top half of this inning, remains in the game, and he'll work behind the plate. So pitcher spot now 8th in the Rockies order after the blown save by Fernando Rodney. Chris Owings, who's got 3 home runs in the series, one of them in the 4th inning here today, will lead off the 9th. Big loopy sweeping slider from Ottavino, and it's 0-1. He will get wild on you. He walked to Scalzo when he faced him here Friday night. Didn't go. That's been CO's kryptonite lately, that slider from the right-hand pitcher.
Especially a right-handed pitcher like Adam Ottavino, who steps way across his body. Big sweeping breaking ball. Looks like it's starting behind you.
Two balls and one strike. Remember, we told you that game that Ottavino pitched in versus the Dodgers earlier on this Rockies road trip, when he gave up 6 earned runs, 4 wild pitches, tied a Rockies franchise record. Squib shot to first. Reynolds, Ottavino is there, 1 away.
Second baseman.
Brandon Drury, one of the big hits of the ball game. 2-out RBI double in the 6th that at the time gave the Diamondbacks the lead. And for Brandon, that snapped a 3-for-30 skid. He'll hit with 1 out. Fastball up and in. It's a big game for the Diamondbacks. Dodgers are losing 5-0 in the 6th inning right now at San Diego. Trying to take 2 of 3 from the team that's right behind them in both the West and the wild card. Well, that slider's a real slow sweeper.
Especially after the pitch before is 96 right under your chin.
Yeah.
And drop that slider right on the outside corner at the knees. That's a tough combination.
Knocks it into right. A base hit for Drury. Winning runs aboard with 1 out.
Drury with a 2-hit game, driving that ball to the opposite field. That's always good to see.
I'll tell you what else is good to see right now. Chris Iannetta up there with his flair for the dramatic this year. Iannetta today 0 for 3. But he's got 8 home runs on the season. 6 of those homers have either tied the game or given the Diamondbacks the lead. Winning run at first with a 1 out. Broken bat foul behind Tony Perez-Chica at third. Chris Iannetta, of his last 15 hits, 14 have been for extra bases, 8 doubles and 6 home runs. 18 RBIs in his last 18 games. And he's up there with a winning run at first. Fastball's a strike and it's 0-2. Ketel Marte on deck. Left field, that ball is down. Drury heading for third. He'll stop there. Iannetta is in at second.
Flair for the dramatic, a hanging slider for Chris Iannetta. Didn't get all of it, but got enough of it to dunk it down that left field line for a 1-out double, putting runners at second and third.
Bud Black to the mound. Ketel Marte will be the hitter. Ray Fuentes is behind him. First base is open. And that's it for Adam Ottavino. Diamondbacks have the winning run 90 feet away with 1 out. And Bud Black will go to the bullpen. Chris Russin, the left-hander, on his way in. Back after this. Diamondbacks 3-3 game, bottom 9 here. The left-hander Chris Russin, who worked a scoreless 7th inning in Friday's series opener. You got Blanco Peralta Goldie on for the Rockies. This is an interesting strategy session here for you, BB. You've got Ketel Marte, a switch hitter, coming up. First base is open. Ray Fuentes behind him. What are your thoughts?
Well, it is for me personally. I would probably go ahead and issue the intentional walk to set up a potential double play to get out of the inning if I were Bud Black. For a slowly hit ball in the infield, you could possibly get the force play at home. Of course, if you walk the bases loaded, you're putting it on your relief pitcher to make sure he can throw strikes. Chris Russin has been a strike thrower this season.
Bud Black going with a 5-man infield here. Only 2 outfielders for the Rockies. Blackman and Tapia. Valleca has come in. 5 infielders, all with their toes on the grass for Colorado. There's Valleca in your picture right there in front of Iannetta. He's the left fielder. Winning run at third, 1 out. Here's Ketel Marte, who singled in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. This is something that we've seen Joe Madden do a lot of, both with Tampa Bay and the Cubs. A 5-man infield in these types of tense situations. Changeup, 1-1.
You can see Marte immediately upset with himself for chasing that changeup out of the zone down.
Ketel Marte having a big year at Reno when he was called up about a week ago, leading all of minor league baseball in hits. Hitting .338 with the Aces at AAA in the Coast League. The 1-1 from Chris Russin. Went back to the changeup. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Ildemaro Vargas has come out in the on-deck circle. Vargas, like Marte, just called up from Reno over the course of the last week. He would be hitting for Fuentes. 1-2 on Ketel Marte. D-backs season continues. Their 6th walk-off win this year and their 3rd on this homestand. Well, Bob, they lose Nick Ahmed to the broken hand. Ketel Marte, having a big season at Reno, comes up, and he's the latest in a long line of Diamondbacks heroes.
Our key to the game a few days ago was who's next? Who's going to be the hero today? And today it happens to be Ketel Marte. Tough at bat right there, chased a couple of bad pitches. Russin tries to come back with one more changeup, but bites off a little bit too much strike zone, and Marte rips it into left field for the game winner.
And the D-backs take 2 of 3 from the Rockies. They get to 21 games over 500, the best start in franchise history at 52-31. This was a big one, and Jody Jackson is standing by with the newest Diamondback hero.
That's right, Steve. Certainly the hero here today, Ketel Marte. How does it feel to be part of that walk-off celebration?
Oh, that's my first walk-off in my career. And he got me in the first 2 straight.
Woo! You knew that was coming maybe, or maybe you didn't?
Oh, he tried. Like I say, he got me in the first 2 pitch. I was behind the count.
That's just cruel. That. Well, that's one way to cool you off, but Ketel, I want to talk to you about that at-bat. I know you're going to be freezing a little bit right now, but that at-bat was a tough one. Couple change-ups there that you swung at, and then you saw another one, didn't you? Take me through it.
Oh, yeah, like I say, he got me. I was behind the count, but, I never got off. And I was trying to do my best, and he threw me fast, and I put my best swing.
I know you just came up from Reno recently, but you were on fire down there. How does it feel to be up here and contributing now with this team?
A lot of blessings this year, a lot of blessings. God bless me a lot. And Natty, I'm so happy to be here with the team. We got a good team in here. We are together, and Natty, I'm just gonna keep doing and trying to help my team win every day.
And then a question for you here about Taijuan Walker. Had a couple of double plays turn tonight out there that helped him. 8 strikeouts for Taijuan. What was it like watching him pitch?
He can pitch. I mean, he's a good pitch. And like I say, if your teammate play good defense, I think we're gonna win a lot again. So nothing, just keep working, and we'll be good.
All right, Ketel, thank you. Go enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right, Ketel Marte. Ketel, he's going to enjoy that one. And I got to say, there aren't too many times that I get doused with the water, but that was quite, I guess, a larger bucket of ice, guys, or something. I don't know what happened there. But that was a big celebration, let me tell you.
Collateral damage there, Jody, and dry cleaning is on us, and the new IFB receiver that got hit with the water. We'll see that in the shop on Monday.
Poor Ketel Marte had to do his interview with his teeth chattering. That looked cold. Poor Jody got it too.
You put yourself in his position right there. He was outmatched and he was upset about it. He gathered himself. He slowed the game down in that batter's box for that moment, didn't he, Mark?
Well, he did, and I think he also used just an unexplainable pitch to me. Getting him to chase changeups out of the zone, and then all of a sudden tried to sneak a fastball by Marte, and he crushed that ball off the left field wall. And once again, another way the Diamondbacks win a close one, a close and late ball game. That was another exciting ball game.
All right, our coverage continues here on Fox Sports Arizona. Stay with us. Stay here at Chase Field alongside all of us and our crew. A 4-3 walk-off win for the Arizona Diamondbacks. When we come back, Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink. Look out, Jody Jackson.
Oh, poor Jody.
That's not going viral. Not a chance.